The Great Depression, Cause and Effects. Imagine going from being a promising college student to being homeless, unsure of when you will have your next meal. You may have a general idea of what the Great Depression was, an economic crisis beginning in 1929 with the crash of the stock market, lasting until 1939, affecting millions of people. After researching multiple sources, I am able to share with you its causes and the effects that it had worldwide. They say history repeats itself, but by learning from history, if we can prevent a repetition, at least we can be prepared for it. Today I will discuss with you the causes of the Great Depression, the effects it had in America, as well as the effects it had in different parts of the world. To begin, you may believe that the Great Depression was caused by the crash of the stock market. Although this marked the beginning of the Great Depression, other factors contributed to it. The Great Depression can be said to have been caused by a combination of a poor banking system, too much optimism in the U.S. economy, and the excess of credit. In the 2013 video, The Great Depression Crash Course, U.S. History number 33, John Green of Crash Course, publishers of educational videos, informs us that the 1920s featured large-scale domestic consumption. A majority of this consumption was fueled by credit, which proved to be unsustainable. Optimism in a time where the agriculture sector, car manufacturing, and residential construction were on a decline, people went into debt, taking loans to invest in the stock market. Production fell, stocks dropped, money that was spent on investments were lost, and people were unable to pay the banks back. Banks at the time were majority small, independent, with limited resources. This caused credit to freeze and many banks to fail. Next, the resulting bank failures and the freezing of credit initiated a chain reaction that would be felt throughout America. Ultimately, people lost their jobs, their homes was forced into poverty, and this called for change in America. The country experienced a severe deflation. With the prices being cut, businesses experienced loss in revenue. This resulted in employees being laid off. With less people able to afford services and products, the inventories piled up. Prices therefore dropped more, and more employees were laid off. Ultimately, businesses were closed, unemployment spiked to 25%, and about 10 million Americans were left unemployed. In the 2023 video titled The Great Depression, America's Biggest Economic Crisis, published by Free Documentary History, narrated by Jeff Stryker, Stryker tells us that himself, along with families that were kicked out of their homes by the bank, were forced to live in shanty towns called Hoovervilles. They lived in metal sheets tied together with strings. He recalls the hunger and the misery that he felt during this time period. This called for change in America. In effect, to end the Depression and prevent another one, changes were made, including changes to the bank system. Commercial and investment banking was separated. Deposits were insured, and the central banking as well as the Federal Reserve was strengthened, giving them more authority to regulate and monitor banking. The Social Security Act was also created. This ensured Americans assistance from the federal government, including unemployment benefits. Not only did the Great Depression have an effect on America, it also had effects that spread worldwide. In Britannica's article titled The Great Depression, Economic Impact, professors of history and economics Richard Pels and Christina Romer tells us that the decline in America's economic output, which linked nearly all the countries of the world together in a network, played a role in transmitting the downturn in America to other countries. International trade is a key part in the countries around the world economy. When this trade network experienced a collapse, countries became unable to stimulate their economy, and they faced similar struggles as the United States, causing them to make changes such as devaluing their currency. One country that was affected just as much as the United States was Germany. The people at the time became so displeased with their government that they sought to do away with it. This enabled Adolf Hitler to come into power, and his actions can be contributed to the start of World War I or World War II, which in turn affected so many more countries and so many more lives. In conclusion, I hope I was able to further educate you on the Great Depression, its causes, and the effects that it had. After my research, I was able to further my knowledge on how important this time period was in our history. And after this presentation, I hope I was able to pass that knowledge on to you. What can be blamed on poor decision making, too much optimism, and too much credit, and a poor banking system resulted in poverty in America that prompted change. Not only was America affected, other countries were as well, and in turn, the world. That was the Great Depression. Thank you.